So the Galaxy Note 9 has been launched. Every popular tech YouTuber out there is telling you why this should be your next best phone. Everyone's on a campaign for the Galaxy Note 9, but is right now a better time to buy the Galaxy Note 8? Let's talk about it. Now, in order to answer this question, we first have to ask what's different between the Galaxy Note 8 and the Galaxy Note 9. The similarities far outweigh the differences in this case, being that there wasn't a huge change in terms of hardware. The design is almost identical. They've moved the fingerprint sensor and added some more functionality to the S Pen, but it looks just like a Galaxy Note 8. But there are some differences when it comes to the hardware side of things. There's a spec bump. Now, of course, the main difference in terms of hardware is going to be going from the Snapdragon 835 to the Snapdragon 845. With the new generation Snapdragon 845, you do get a boost in performance of 25% and also a 30% boost in battery life as reported from Qualcomm. The other differences, of course, go hand in hand with the GPU, giving you more performance with the Adreno 630 versus the 540. And then, of course, the camera improvements with 4K 60 frames per second versus last year's 4K 30 frames per second. Now, with all things considered, these are very incremental upgrades. The other difference, as mentioned earlier, is the added functionality to the S Pen. Now you have Bluetooth functionality and controls with the button. You can use the button now to wirelessly play and pause music as well as take pictures. The second difference between the Note 8 and the Note 9 is going to be the increase in battery size, going all the way up to 4,000 milliamps. Samsung claims that this is going to give you all day battery life, but of course that is subjective based on your usage habits. And last but not least, the biggest issue that everyone had with the Note 8 in the past was the fact that that fingerprint sensor was out of reach for most, so they've gone ahead and moved that down below the camera in the middle. So if you're comparing the Note 8 to the Note 9 and wondering which phone is going to be best for you, it really comes down to two things. The biggest factor going into purchasing either of these devices is going to be the price. Everyone's biggest complaint with the Note 9 thus far is the fact that it's overpriced. People are saying that $1,000 for the base model is a big ask, and $1,250 for the 512 gig variant is beyond unreasonable. Now, if you're comparing last year's Note 8 to this year's Note 9 base model, it's a little bit more of an even playing field. With last year's Note 8, of course, you're taking a step back in terms of specs, going with the Snapdragon 835 versus the 845, and then also only having 64 gigs of internal storage versus 128. But they both have the same RAM coming in at 6 gigabytes of RAM. With that being said, the cost per value is definitely going to be leaning more so towards the Note 8. Right now on Swappa, you can get a Note 8 in good used condition for about $450 and brand new for $600. Whereas with the Note 9, the base model asking price is $1,000. Now, if you're considering getting the 512 gig variant, you're someone like me that loves to be on the bleeding edge of technology. It intrigues you to have a terabyte in the phone with the addition of the micro SD card and also to have the extra RAM at 8 gigabytes of RAM. But if you're not like me and you're not addicted to technology, then the Note 8 is probably going to be your best bet in terms of cost per spec. It really does hold up well and stand the test of time. It's still snappy, it's still responsive. I don't notice any Samsung lag, and it's honestly well worth $450 if you buy it used. Oftentimes when these new phones come out, we act as if our old phones are obsolete, but the camera on this phone is still amazing. It's still lightning fast. The screen is still Quad HD. Videos still look amazing on it. It's still a really good contender, especially if you're comparing it to other devices that are going to be in that price range of $450 to $600. But with this video, I just wanted to break up the monotony and give you guys a different option as a consumer. I know everyone's talking about the Note 9 right now and how great it is. Of course, myself, I've pre-ordered it, so I'll be getting that in-house and giving you guys my thoughts on it soon enough. But the Note 8 is still a very viable option for most people out there. Every year, the new Note manages to be the highest performing Android device on the market because they cram so much into these new phones. Even on stage at the launch event, they mentioned how hard it is to continue to keep up and continue to push the boundaries and push the envelope on these new phones. But I thought this would be a good topic of conversation. I'll be down in the comments going back and forth with you guys, giving you my thoughts and opinions. Let me know if you've pre-ordered the Note 9, if you're planning on getting a different device. If you're impressed with this phone at all, I know it's a hit or a miss for most people. It's a pretty polarizing phone. Some people are saying that this is well worth the price, or this is what they're waiting for, and some people are saying it's really not that different from the Note 8. Being that I haven't gotten the Note 9 yet in-house, I really can't give you my objective opinion, like, you know, if it's worth it or if it's better than the Note 8, because I don't want to talk out of turn. But for those of you that already own it, I'd be curious to know your thoughts. But that's about it for me, guys. It's been a pleasure. Until next time, stay fresh. Peace.